Krishna. Hena Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur 91. Kahamora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kahadasa Raghunata Patita Pavan Kahamura Bhatta Yuga Kaha Kaviraj Eka Kale Kota Gela Gora Nataraj Pashane Kotibo Mata Annale Pashibo Goranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Pabo Se Sabasangira Sange Ekolo Vilas Se Sanga Napaya Kande Narothamada Ye Anilo Premadana Karuna Pracho Hena Prabhu Kota Kela Acharya Thakur Okay, I'll read the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivasacharya gone? Where are my Srup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatt and Gopal Bhatt? Where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against a rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Okay. Yes, I am. Alright, so it's a disappearance of Sri Raghunandana Thakur and Vangshidas Babaji. So I'll just read something about both of them. This is Sri Raghunandana Thakur. Is this loud enough for everybody? Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. It's up to all of you. I'm whatever you like. Being called away on medical business, Mukunda Das once asked his young son, Raghunandana, to offer the Raj Bhog to the family deity of Gopinath. Raghunandana prepared everything timely, carefully, and with great devotion. When he made the offering, he remembered his father's order. Make sure the deity eats. Ringing the bell, the simple boy told the Gopinath deity, "Eat, eat." Raghunandana began crying when he saw the untouched food remaining on the deity's plate. He feared his father's anger for his inability to make the deity eat. Gopinath couldn't resist the child's intense devotion, so the Lord ate everything on the plate, leaving no remnants. Upon returning, Mukunda asked for Gopinath's Mahaprasad. Raghunandana said the deity ate everything. Astonished, Mukunda told his son to make the offering again. From a hidden place, Mukunda watched in total amazement as Raghunandana offered a laddu to Gopinath. But the Lord only took half a laddu. Mukunda understood that the deity only took half because he was still full from eating the lunch offering. Choked with divine emotion and appreciation of his pure devotee son, Mukunda embraced Raghunandana. Later in Jagannath Puri, Lord Gauranga lovingly asked Mukunda Das, "Who is the father and who is the son?" Mukunda replied, "Raghunandana is definitely my father, because he has given me Krishna Bhakti and showed me pure Krishna consciousness." So in Krishna Lila, Raghunandana is Kandarpa Manjari, or Pradyumna of the Chaturvyuha. Either or. So Vangshidas Babaji is actually not in the Samadhi's book. Is it Vangshi? I think it's Vangshidas Babaji. I don't know. Maybe someone could look up. Is it Vangshi Vadana? Yeah, Vangshidas Babaji. So I'll just read. So I'll just read something. This is from Bhakti-Vikas Swami's book. I'll just read. This is just a short. It's called Vangshidas Babaji, and it's by Bhakti-Vikas Swami, and it's just a short kind of interview with Vangshidas Babaji. Apparently, it's an interview with Dr. Hare. That's his name. So this is Dr. Hare speaking in Bengali. "Have you seen Ramakrishna Paramahamsa?" Babaji Maharaj: "Maybe I have seen him, but I wouldn't recognize him. I know only Mayapur, nothing more. Nakul, Arjun, and others have already gone." Dr. Hare: "If all will go, then what is the need for Hari Bhajan, and where have those who have left gone to?" Babaji Maharaj: "Nakul, Arjun, and all others are alive, but they are not within our material vision. They are out of our sight. Where there is Sri Krishna, you will find Nakul and Arjun, and where Nakul and Arjun are, you can also find Sri Krishna." Dr. Hare: "They are out of our vision, so how can we know this?" Babaji Maharaj: "They, ordinary people, don't know. They, Krishna and his associates, don't allow them to know. It is their Leela." So Babaji Maharaj was very kind of avadut, so he would speak in interesting ways, and he was, not a difficult to understand personality, so therefore he's speaking like this, different ways. Dr. Hare: "Is the mind one or two, one giving directions and another doing the work?" Babaji Maharaj: "One is under the control of Maya and another is not." Dr. Hare: "The indriyas, senses, are the main cause of difficulty. But if you give up the indriyas, then how will you do Hari Bhajan? Babaji Maharaj, Shuneya Govinda Rabba Apane Palabe Sabha. By hearing the sound of Govinda, all difficulties go away by themselves. From a song by Narottam Das Thakur. Let's see what type of sound is coming. Now you will go to your home, take bath and food, and thus feel happy. So what will you get from me? You are stuck in Maya. Dr. Hari, are your activities also material? Do you also have unhappiness? Babaji Maharaj, now I am unhappy. When I worship Gaur Nitai, I get pleasure. This is my Nitya Samsara. Yours is the Maya Samsara. As the baby cries and laughs while asleep, like you feel happiness and distress in your samsara. On that same day, a sadhu of the Ramanuja Sampradaya came, and Babaji Maharaj respectfully offered him a seat. That Ramanuja sadhu wanted to speak about the 4 Sampradayas and 4 Sampradaya Acharyas. And then Bhakti-Vikas Swami has a footnote. It says, by taking up this topic for discussion, it appears that the Ramanuja sadhu wanted to attack the validity of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So 4 Sampradayas and 4 Sampradaya he wanted to discuss. However, before he could speak, Babaji Maharaj said, I am not in line with any of them. Sadhu, there may be some fault in the Sampradaya, still it is going on. Babaji Maharaj, I am serving all 4 Sampradayas. Sadhu, is Narayan here? Babaji Maharaj, no, but he was here before. Yeah. Later, that sadhu pointed to the deities with his left hand, considered offensive in Vedic culture, asked about their identities. Babaji Maharaj replied, this is what he said about his deities. There is a sannyasi Vrindavan and the leader of a gang of thieves from Navadvip. He was talking about Gaur Nitai. Hearing this, that sadhu got up and left. It seems that as a member of the Ramanuja Sampradaya, that sadhu can neither appreciate Babaji Maharaj's object of worship, Gaur Nitai, or his mode of worship, which was far different from the strict observance of rules and regulations as practiced by Sri Vaishnavas. So yeah, Babaji, Vangshidas Babaji Maharaj, he was a pure devotee, and actually Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would tell devotees to go get his remnants and then bring it to him so he could take them. And but he had a very, you could say, difficult mood to understand, in that he was not dealing with Krishna like most people do, or dealing with Gaur Nitai as most people do. He would chastise them, and all types of stuff. So, but this is an interesting point he brings up, Vangshidas Babaji, that by hearing the sound of Govinda, all difficulties go away by themselves. And then he says, let's see what type of sound is coming now. Now you go to your home, take bath and food, and thus feel happy. So what will you get from me? You're stuck in Maya. So, people are just, what is it called, satisfied, or as Prabhupada said, they think themselves satisfied with these types of things. Just they could have some nice clothes, if they could have some nice food, right? If they could have a nice place to stay in, then they're considered themselves happy or successful. And Babaji Maharaj says this is, you're stuck in Maya. So yeah, we know this, and therefore it is the duty of the Vaishnavas, or the aspiring Vaishnavas, who also may be trying to get out of Maya, to try to help people, help bring people out of this dark well of material existence. And sometimes devotees wonder why is it that they themselves are still in Maya? Why themselves are still having difficulties? Sometimes we may wonder that, right? So he's saying, by hearing the sound of Govinda, all difficulties go away by themselves. So that's the crux of the matter, that are we hearing? And speaking for myself too, am I hearing? Govinda's name. I mean, sometimes people say, oh, you know, for whatever strange reason, may refer to me as a senior devotee, you know, because I've been in the temple for over 10 years. Whatever. But, you know, the question is, okay, well, have I actually really heard Hare Krishna? Have I actually really bowed down to the deities? Have I actually taken prasadam? You know. So what I mean by that is that someone may be doing these things, at least externally, but if they don't have the proper conscience or the right mood, then how much are they actually doing it? You know, in other words, how much is the effect actually happening? And therefore devotees say, I've been chanting so many years, right? Shnik, shnik, ram, ram, right? And where's the result? Well, shnik, shnik, ram, ram may not give the result. So yeah, we somehow, speaking for myself also, I mean, that's, you know, when people sit on the seat, they also speak to themselves, you know, and others. But we have to somehow or other come to that point where we actually chant Hare Krishna, where we actually take prasadam, where we actually bow down to the deities, you know, all these things in Krishna consciousness, you know. So that's what he's saying, that by hearing the sound of Govinda, all difficulties go away by themselves. So if the difficulties aren't going away, then we're not hearing. And to the degree they're not going away, that means just we're not hearing, simple as that. So we shouldn't blame Krishna, but we should just blame our own insincerity, you know, for our problems. So that's an important thing, important point to consider, that until we learn how to, you know, cast off this insincerity, whatever degree it may have, whatever degree we may have of it, we actually won't get free from these difficulties. So anyways, there's a book here. We have lots of them. We have about 100 copies upstairs. They've been there for the last 5 years. So if any of you want to read them, you know, feel free. Distribute them on the street. No, I don't think we're going to. People want to understand the cover. Judge a book by its cover. He's in his kopin. But people want to understand that. Okay, so we'll read the Bhagavatam verse. We're one verse behind, huh? Oh, this is the wrong Bhagavatam, too. We got an impure mic for impure speaker. You know, it's a little dirty here. So impure speaker matches. We got the wrong Bhagavatam. And we got the wrong verse. So. So does someone want to give me their... I have my own devices, but if someone wants to give me one of their devices, I can take one. Oops. The potheads like this one, huh? This number. The potheads like this number. The potheads like this number. 420. Yeah, it's a smoke out day, April 20th. Sorry. I'm just wondering, why is that number? Oh, really? I heard there's 420 chemicals in marijuana. Anyways. God bless them all, right? All right. We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 4, Sati quits her body, and text 20. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. How does it? Karma Okay. Karma pravittam chanavrittam apritam Vede vijyo bhayalingam ashritam Virodhi tad yoga padaika kartari Dvayam tata brahmani karma narchati Karma pravittam chanavrittam apritam Vede vivityo bhayalingam ashritam Virodhi tad yoga padaika kartari Dvayam tata brahmani karma narchati Karma pravittam chanavrittam apritam Vede vivityo bhayalingam ashritam Virodhi tad yoga padaika kartari Dvayam tata brahmani karma narchati Karma, activities, pravittam, attached to material enjoyment, cha, and nivrittam, materially detached, api, certainly, vritam, true, vede, in the Vedas, vivitya, distinguished, vayalingam, symptoms of both, ashritam, directed, virodhi, contradictory, tat, that, yoga pada eka kartari, both activities in one person, dvayam, two, tata, so, brahmani, in one who is transcendently situated, karma, activities, nadichati, are neglected. Translation. In the Vedas, there are directions for two kinds of activities. Activities for those who are attached to material enjoyment, and activities for those who are materially detached. In consideration of these two kinds of activities, there are two kinds of people who have different symptoms. If one wants to see two kinds of activities in one person, that is contradictory. But both kinds of activities may be neglected by a person who is transcendently situated. Purport. The Vedic activities are so designed that the conditioned soul who has come to enjoy the material world may do so under direction so that at the end he becomes detached from such material enjoyment and is eligible to enter into the transcendental position. The four different spiritual orders, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas, gradually train a person to come to the platform of transcendental life. The activities and dress of a grihastha or householder are different from those of a sannyasi, one in the renounced order of life. It is impossible for one person to adopt both orders. A sannyasi cannot act like a householder, nor can a householder act like a sannyasi. But above these two kinds of persons, one who engages in material activities and one who has renounced material activities, there is the person who is transcendental to both. Lord Shiva is in the transcendental position because, as stated before, he is always absorbed in thought of Lord Vasudeva within himself. Therefore, neither the activities of the grihastha nor those of the sannyasi in the renounced order can be applicable for him. He is in the Paramahamsa stage, the highest perfectional stage of life. The transcendental position of Lord Shiva is also explained in Bhagavad Gita 2:52-53. It is stated there that when one fully engages in the transcendental service of the Lord by performing activities without fruit of results, one is elevated to the transcendental position. At that time he has no obligation to follow the Vedic injunctions or the different rules and regulations of the Vedas. When one is above the directions of the Vedic ritualistic injunctions for attaining different allurements and is fully absorbed in transcendental thought, which means thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and devotional service, one is in the position called Buddhi Yoga, or Samadhi, ecstasy. For a person who has attained this stage, neither the Vedic activities for realizing material enjoyment nor those for renunciation are applicable. Om Vijnanativarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshavatsame Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karivachalam Pangam Langayate Gadim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurundiritanam Pancha Kalpadribhishcha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll read the translation again. In the Vedas, there are directions for two kinds of activities. Activities for those who are attached to material enjoyment, and activities for those who are materially detached. In consideration of these two kinds of activities, there are two kinds of people who have different symptoms. If one wants to see the two kinds of activities of one person, that is contradictory. But both kinds of activities may be neglected by a person who is transcendently situated. Bhajanarayan Swami tells that kind of story that there's a anyways, maybe I have to ask him to get it right. I don't know if I want to ruin it. But in essence, it's the king, he's looking at the farmer and thinking, oh, what a life. And then the farmer's looking at the king and saying, oh, what a life. And the renunciate's looking at and it's going all like this all around society. Everybody's, looking at each other and thinking, oh, my position's not that great. And if I was in their position, I could really enjoy, So it's very interesting. And that's the interesting thing about the mind. The mind is quite a complex, in some cases crazy, thing, in that it tricks the conditioned soul into thinking all different types of, hallucinating about all different types of things. That by engaging in these, not things, but hallucinating about all different types of material desires, and by engaging in these desires will be satisfied, happy. Sometimes, they shouldn't, at least on the renunciate side, but sometimes renunciates who aren't so maybe fixed up, may dream about, becoming a material sense enjoyer, whether it's a sannyasi or a brahmachari, they may, dream about that. Daydream, night dream about becoming a material sense enjoyer, right? Oh, if I had whatever the sense object is, whether it's women or money or possessions or fancy clothes or whatever it is, they're dreaming about that. And sometimes the sense enjoyers, the materialists, they may dream sometimes about, hey, I'll just get detached from everything, I'll become a great meditator or yogi. Or maybe not the out-and-out sense enjoyers, but maybe the grihastas, they may think, oh, if I was able to give up my wife and, whatever, then take sannyas and I'll be happy, So it's interesting how both parties may dream like that sometimes. And therefore Srila Prabhupada said, when in relation to renunciates, and specifically in relation to sannyasis, but after some time of being a brahmachari, and if one wants to stay a brahmachari, then more or less they're supposed to develop the mentality of a sannyasi. Means the same desires, the same aspirations, the same, focus. So we could relate this to brahmachari life too, that when a brahmachari sannyasi, Prabhupada says, goes into a rich man's house, they should be very careful, and that when they walk in there, they should pray to Krishna, they should pray to Radha Krishna, they should pray to Radha Giridhari, that please do not let me become bewildered by this, by the nice house and the marble floor and the whatever high ceilings and the nice prasad or whatever it is. Please do not let me become attracted. Please do not let me become bewildered by this, because the renunciate could be thinking, hey, maybe I could get something like this. So so it is interesting how both parties are dreaming, and if those dreams aren't checked, then that dream could become a reality. So if the renunciates don't stop their tripping or stop their hallucination or stop their dreaming, they could find themselves in a situation that they were dreaming about. And similarly, the grihasta or someone like that, they may be dreaming about renunciation, and they also may find themselves in that position. Which someone would say, well, maybe that's good. Maybe that's beneficial for them. But if they're a young householder and they have young children, then it's not good socially. So they have to be careful too. Just one day they all right, Prabhupada did it, Madhvacharya did it. I think he did, or someone had a young wife, super young wife, and a young kid. Is one of our acharyas, maybe in the Sri Sampradaya, but a acharya in India, which we accept a Vaishnava acharya. He was thinking about taking sannyas young, right? But he was thinking, oh, I have my wife and I have my young kid, and then all of a sudden he saw like a little baby spider, and the spider was whatever food was coming somehow automatically, and then he just got this idea that, hey, well, Krishna's taking care of them, or everything's working. So he just took sannyas. Now, of course, people may shoot me for saying this, but now, of course, we have to be careful, nowadays. And actually, nowadays, within ISKCON, you actually can't take sannyas without permission of your wife, if you have one. So, and she has to be taken care of and all that. There's a whole thing. Because they don't want men just, ditching their wives. So, so whatever the case, if this dreaming isn't stopped, it could turn into reality. So therefore, there's thinking, feeling, and then willing. We think about something, and then we're feeling it, and then we actually do it. So we have to be careful in relation to materialism, that we don't let it get too far off into the crazy land of materialism. Now, of course, in relation to Krishna consciousness, we should dream about being Krishna conscious. Like I was thinking to myself earlier that, I had a dream I was Krishna conscious. But then I woke up and I realized it wasn't reality. I'm not Krishna conscious. So we could dream about being Krishna conscious. That's good. Because hopefully one day that will be reality. In other words, dreaming is a bit of a longing, like, if only I was Krishna conscious, and I'm such a Maya, I'm such a fool, I'm such a rascal, whatever. Of course you should do something about it, but dreaming, we're dreaming, and hopefully that will turn into reality. So we have to be careful what we're thinking about, what we're daydreaming or night dreaming about. But whatever the case is, whoever we are, the final aim is the same: is complete detachment from this material world, material existence, and all the glitter of material existence, and full attachment to Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore there's the 4 ashrams, right? The Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. Of course, nowadays things are very complicated. It's the age of Kali. But nonetheless, Srila Prabhupada instituted that. He wanted to go on and be added upon and further developed in a more systematic training. But whatever the case is, we're meant to be detached. And we shouldn't be so puffed up to think that, I could just, there's certain instructions in Bhagavad Gita that I could just neglect, But we should take all the instructions of Bhagavad Gita very seriously, thinking that we actually need it, because thinking that we're fallen, which we should be thinking, and in most cases is actually true, especially, I could say about myself. And by following this process of Krishna consciousness, and gradually we'll become detached, and detached from material existence and attached to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then we could reach the Paramahamsa stage, which is the stage of ecstasy, the stage of samadhi. And a very great way to do this, as Srila Prabhupada said in one of his letters in the 1950s, Prabhupada actually, very interesting, Prabhupada was thinking about this so deeply, about spreading Krishna consciousness and establishing a society. He started with the League of Devotees. So he had a whole guideline of what he would do with the members of the League of Devotees. And very interesting actually is what he prescribed for the members of the League of Devotees. It was just a lot of prasadam. And it was you came to every arti. Okay, you go to Mangal Arti, you attend the Arti, and then you have some milk sweets, as Prabhupada said. Then you go to, and then you attend class, and you attend the next Arti, and then you have breakfast, right? And then it says you have 2 hours study time, and then you go back to the temple and see the deities, and you attend the next arti, and then you have prasad again, right? You have prasad again, and then it says you have 2 hours time to rest, 1 to 3, and then you go back again to the next arti, which is around 4:30 or whatever, and you attend it again, and then you have prasadam again. You have fruit, as the Prabhupada said. And then you take some more classes, this and that, and then you go back again I believe, all of this so far is not exaggeration. Now, what I'm saying now, we have to double check, but you go back at 6, you attend the arti. I know you wanted to go back. I don't know if you want to have prasad again, but I do remember you go to the last arti, 8:15 or whatever, you attend it, and then Prabhupada said you have prasad, you have rice, and that's what he said. And then you sleep from 10 to 4. That's what he said. So very interesting. But in that whole list of that whole description of the League of Devotees, he was saying we were very, or one of the points he was saying, we're very interested in having, we're not interested in having sleeping members, but we're interested in having preaching members, means of the League of Devotees. So, of course, there's sleep, which we're all, obviously, everybody's familiar with. We do it every day, a few times a day, or whatever. There's sleep, the aspect of just sleeping. So that's what Prabhupada was referring to. Won't want people to sleep too much. There's a lot of stuff to do, a lot of preaching, etc. But also there's just sleeping, means sleeping in Maya, just kind of not very enthusiastic, not Krishna conscious, like that. So Prabhupada wanted enthusiastic, Krishna conscious persons who are not excessively sleeping, right? And in this way, to spread Krishna consciousness. So, anyways, Prabhupada set it all up very nicely. So does anyone have any questions or? Yes. Well, I don't know. That's a problem. I mean, yes. The question is, how are they supposed to preach if they're attending the artis all day? Well, they were living there. These were the fellows who were living. Nice program, huh? Maybe I should try it. Maybe I'll try it for a year. I don't know if I'll take so much prasad, though. It's kind of a lot. But at least I could attend all the artis for a year. Yeah, I'm sure Krishna would like it. But how are you supposed to? How are they supposed to preach if they're just attending artis and taking prasad? Well, in India, the culture is. I mean, the first thing comes out. The culture is everybody comes to the temple. At least because everybody's Indian, and they kind of have that inclination, as Prabhupada said. Right, Bharati Bhumite Hola Manusha Jamajar. Prabhupada says in the purport, that they have the inclination to be Krishna conscious, to worship God. So they come naturally, and then you preach to them, you give them books, you feed them prasad. But then Prabhupada did mention in the whole description of League of Devotees, he said, if members are interested in becoming preachers, we will train them. Prabhupada mentioned Bhakti Shastri, way back then, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, and he said he would send them out. So I'm sure he had a similar ideas. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yes. Thank you. Now we have to go out and get people. They don't come to the temple.
Oh. Along that line, but perhaps more pertinent to us, I was reading, I think it was Yogeshwar's biography of Prabhupada, which has some things that aren't in the Lilamrita. And I learned something I never knew before. I think it was 70, when was Prabhupada in LA? Was it 70? I think that long time was 70. So what happened was that, we don't realize it now, but there was always this threat hanging over most of the members, the male members, of draft.
Yeah.
And so Prabhupada was very eager. He learned, that if you become an authorized religion and your members are being trained in that religion, they can get that exemption, religious exemption. So when Prabhupada then instituted in LA, I think it was, where there were many young men, and I guess the women were allowed to attend also, a systematic training program, where they would have, after the morning program, there would be special classes. They were learning the books. They were debating different points and getting, arguments down and all these different things. And I was saying, wow, that's a unique thing. And he did get that designation, and I think many devotees were able to get deferments, religious deferments, from that. Of course, there's some other, amazing stories about devotees get out of the draft, but that I think was before this all came about. But just the fact that Prabhupada was really pushing that, systematic training, after the morning program. Okay, now there's a whole morning of classes, Nectar Devotion, the Gita, the Bhagavatam, whatever books there were. So maybe we should go back to that. Anyway, it would
Prabhupada
change things.
Made some statement. He said, it's quite a long statement, but part of the statement he said was that, what's the use of so many devotees if none of them are educated? So we have to have a lot of devotees, but they have to be educated as well. So the temple's like a training where we get trained in the books and different Vaishnava arts, instruments and shlokas and this and that and so many things. And the idea is that we learn all those different arts and then we use them for the good of human society. We become trained and use them for the good. So if we could do that, that's what Prabhupada said, a brahmachari should be daksha, not like Daksha Maharaj, because that's against brahmachari. He was a Prajapati. He's a little different than a brahmachari, but he was quite active, But means that daksha, and then Prabhupada said they should learn how to give class, they should learn how to receive guests, play musical instruments, learn Vaishnava bhajans, quote shlokas, cooking, learn how to perform deity worship. They should learn all these things.
I think Prabhupada's idea was that then they would be trained and be able to go and start centers.
Yeah.
And then train others. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, because the culture has to go on like that. So, we don't want in 10, 20 years, now it's anyways. They start offering some very interesting things to the deities as a standard, and they bring in, of course the djembe players will hate me, right? But they replace all the ridangas with djembes, and then they start offering pizza with for the deities as a standard. Every day we have to have pizza. So in other words, the culture becomes lost. So people start, no one learns Sanskrit shlokas. Can you imagine that, Jupiter?
It's a nightmare.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.